Do you want to speed up your security operations and automate your playbooks and your procedures and free up analyst time and reduce analyst tedium? Then an orchestration and automation tool like SecureX is the tool you need. I've personally used security orchestration and automation tools in large financial institutions, and I've seen how they can reduce your average alert processing time from 10 minutes to 10 seconds. If you are not using automation and orchestration tools in your security teams, then you're losing out on a lot of value. The great news is that if you have Cisco security products, then you already have SecureX. SecureX is a cloud-native product that unifies visibility, enables automation, and strengthens your security across your networks, endpoints, the cloud, and applications. And it does all this without replacing your infrastructure or your current technologies. SecureX fuses data and functionality from the tools you already have, so that you can automate procedures based on certain triggers or events. And it does all this with a no-code approach, which means you can add new functionality fast. To show you how SecureX works, I'm going to take a threat feed from a MISP server and use that to block IOCs in another part of the network. SecureX recently added MISP Integration, and we can use the threat intel from MISP and do whatever we want with it. And we want to show you how SecureX can make MISP even better than it is. MISP's automation and orchestration workflow engine within itself isn't very robust, but SecureX is, so we can augment our own investments and our own use of MISP and take it to the next level and do even more with it than we could previously. All I need for this demo is a MISP instance, SecureX, and an endpoint or firewall or something which will receive that IOC and either block it or do something or trigger an action when it sees it on its end. We're going to go from intel to automation to action. For the first part of this demo, I'm going to say that there is a threat intel source that I trust implicitly. If there's anything coming from this threat intel source, I want to make sure that those IPs are spread out everywhere in my network and make sure that they're blocked on endpoints and firewalls everywhere else. So here is what I do. Here we are in the SecureX Orchestration tab, and we're in the workflow editor. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab the Python script object so that we can connect to our MISP server using the API. Now, we've already worked out what the API connection strings need to be and what we need to do, so we're just going to copy and paste that here in the script window just to save us some time. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to capture the output of MISP in the form of IPs in a way so that we can call it later on. Next, we're going to take that output and we're going to format it into a table which SecureX can handle and parse natively. And we tell SecureX how to read the data and how to separate the data. And we want to clean up the data to only contain the types of information we want. And that's going to leave us with a list of IPs, and we want to protect our network from each of these IPs in turn. SecureX has looping functions within the workflow editor, and we can loop through each of the items in the table and do something with each item as it processes them. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to clean up each line so that we're only dealing with an IP address. And then we're going to take each of these IPs and send them to Cisco Umbrella to make sure that all traffic to these IPs is blocked. So this is the core workflow. And to show you that this is actually working in our live demo, we've added the BBC to our MISP instance. And so we're going to show you that the BBC works before we run it. And then we're going to show you that the BBC is then blocked after we run this workflow, and there it is. It's blocked by Cisco Umbrella as a result of our workflow. But let's take things one step further. Let's say that we want to be able to manually approve the addition of the IPs to Umbrella in SecureX. And we can do that by adding a trigger. And let's go one step even further than that, and let's say that we want to notify our chat ops team using Slack, and we can also do that with Cisco SecureX. You simply add in an approval request task and all of the metadata. There is also a built-in Slack task that is also available, and you put in that metadata. And then you put in a wait trigger to make sure that the entire workflow stops waiting for that approval. And of course, because we're putting in a condition, there is a chance that the approver might approve or deny those IPs, so we need a code execution branch and a indication as to what to do when it's approved and when it's been rejected. One of the great things in the workflow editor is that the objects can be duplicated and saved, so they can be reused within the same workflow or saved in such a way so they can be used in other workflows in other tasks you might have. And this is our updated workflow with a trigger, an approval condition, and a Slack notification channel. So if we run this in our test, we can see that in our Slack channel, we have this notification that's come up. We can see that the BBC has been blocked from our MISP instance. And the approval process is in the SecureX task tab. Although we sped up clips of this demo for the purposes of this video, the entire process took 13 minutes. This is just one example of how you can use SecureX automation and orchestration to turn security events and data not just into actionable data, but action on your behalf in your network. What do you want SecureX to do for you?